The Sufi mystic and poet Hafiz once wrote, You are invited to meet the divine. No one can resist a divine invitation that narrows down all of our choices to just two. You can come to the divine dressed for dancing, or you can be carried on a stretcher to God's ward. Last week, I shared an interpretation of what I kind of thought that reading meant. So, first, you're invited to meet the divine. We are being called to express more of God as you. You are constantly being invited into a higher, freer, fuller, expanded version of life living itself through each and every one of us. The invitation shows up in your life either as an inner urging for more expression or as a discontent, a dissatisfaction with where you are now. And then the next line, no one can resist the invitation. Either your inner urging for more expression or your discontent, your dissatisfaction with where you are now will have its way with you. That's just the way it is. You can't stop it, you can't resist it. There's a divine urge within each and every one of us. If we're listening, it is calling us to come dance with it, to express it fully. And then we have, you can come dressed for dancing. You can show up fully ready and prepared to do whatever it takes to answer the call of that desire or discontent. We're always a choice, always a choice. Or you could be carried out on a stretcher. Not my idea, but this is Hafiz. Do we want to be carried out on a stretcher in life? And if we do, then we can resist that call of our desire or get mired down in the discontent and agree to life is a struggle, which I've heard many people say throughout my life. Life is a struggle. So we pretty much agreed last week. We have a theme for this month, which is the divine invitation. So last week, we talked about and we discussed that we would prefer to accept the divine invitation for dancing. Or said another way, we would prefer to consciously, actively, deliberately, purposefully, and intentionally answer the call of either the desire or the discontent to be the fullest, freest, most expanded expression of the divine that we can be. It's always up to us. How we view everything in life will be our experience. So I hope you're all still with me with that. That's what we're basing the whole month on. And today's talk is called From Paradigm to Paradise. So we are going to, that's why the reading was so perfect and the songs were fabulous to go with this. They complemented. So today we're going to suit up by releasing paradigms that put us on a stretcher every darn time. Those paradigms that no longer work for us. What is a paradigm, you might ask? So I wanted to give you a precise definition. So I looked the word up in the Merriam-Webster's dictionary, and I took the shortest description because there's a big long one in there. A philosophical or theoretical framework of any kind. So said in an expanded way, our paradigms are our philosophical or theoretical frameworks that become habits or thoughts and habits of attitude. Habits of thought or habits of attitude, how we feel and view and value the world. New Thought minister Dr. Harry Moses once coined a term, which I think fits right in, habitudes. So, habitudes. Habits of attitude. That is what a paradigm is. It's what we live from. And those habits of thought and attitudes that color the way we look at the world, they are our own set of glasses through which we view all that is going on, and it's through our personal viewpoint. And viewpoints of the way things are. Now, here's an interesting thing about them. While they become ours, and we can take very tight ownership of what we believe is the correct thing, the right thing in our lives, we can absolutely, this is the right thing to do, right? For you, maybe not for someone else. They often didn't start with us, okay? They're often not even ours. Rather, they are other people's habits and thoughts and habits of attitudes. Habitudes. Passed on from one generation to the next. We have all that going on within us. That ancestral belief system, we have taken that upon ourselves. And we've embodied it and didn't even know that we didn't know any better. And for others of our paradigm, we create them ourselves, and we usually do this very early on in life. It's what we learn in those early years of life. And coming out of all of that, and then there's even more, because then there's the race consciousness, the human race consciousness. It's a miracle that we can even think straight. I swear, it really is. And how we got to that point, though, really isn't important. The important thing is to know about them and that they color how we view the world. And they very well may cloud up our ability to even consider a new or different divine idea as they come forth in us. Each and every one of us is born with this divine urging, this call within us, a gift within each and every, personalized to each one. And they can get stuck, though. All the stuff that has colored our perceptions and our attitudes can get really stuck into what is and prevent us from achieving the what can be. Are we stuck in the what is, or are we moving forward to the what can be? And make no mistake, the divine is calling us to be in that category of what can be. What's possible? It's infinite, limitless possibilities. They shape all of these habitudes shape our logic. Have you ever said, I don't see how that can happen? Well, that just doesn't make any sense. That could be your paradigm talking and perceptions. How about, well, that's just the way it is. You know? I've heard all of these, haven't you? Yeah. That's the way I see it, so that's the way it has to be. That is our paradigm talking. It's not a divine self, it's our paradigm. Use of time. I don't have time, I'm late. Or I'm in a hurry. That's my personal paradigm. Every time I have to leave the house. I'm always late. I'm always hurrying. I'm late, I can't talk. I have the whole morning to get ready. But it's a paradigm within myself that's causing me to make choices that keep me busy up until like 20 minutes before I have to leave. So that's one, and I thank you all for the gift, because that came to me really loud and clear as I was preparing this talk. So that's one I am going to be personally very aware of in my life. And then we have the ability to create. I've heard so many people say this, oh, I'm not creative. If you're alive and walking this earth, you are creative, because you are creating every every experience of your life, you are creating constantly. So we are, each and every one of us, creative beings. And of all these ways our paradigms rear their not so attractive head, impact whether we show up to answer the divine invitation dressed for dancing or being carried out on a stretcher, there are two ways to change our paradigms. That's really great news. First one, through an intense emotional life experience. One of those great, 2x4s in life that really shock us, and they change the whole way we look at everything. I'm not recommending that. And we're not going to even get into that one today. I think we'll do that one next week. But there's another one. Through constant repetition of a new thought, supported by a new environment. That's why affirmations are so important. To continuously repeat a new thought of what you want, not what you don't want, in your speech, in your action, in your life. And since intense emotional experiences, life-changing events that rock our world are out of our conscious control, because we unconsciously, by the way, are always creating, we're subconsciously creating, they hit us out of the blue. And whenever I hear that, out of the blue, I know that's like the divine coming through there. Out of the blue. There is no out of the blue. But we're not going to focus, like I said, on that today. We'll review last week's talk. If you want to really understand that 2x4 of life, which I've been through a couple, anyone else? A couple of little whacks until you actually got the reason what you were supposed to get easily and effortlessly, but we know the way to do things, so we set our desires, and the law of God, of divinity, is responding to our desires, but then we have this paradigm in our human self that is in complete contrast. So if we don't listen to that divine urging the easy way, and we really want to change our lives, we're going to get it the hard way. Carried out on that stretcher. No thank you. So we're going to spend a few moments today to look at the second one. Constant repetition of a new thought. Ernest Holmes, the founder of religious science, did not speak in terms of paradigms because that's a relatively modern term. But he was hitting the truth, the way the paradigms operate. When he wrote this on page 128 of Science of Mind, it's a book of his, textbook we call it. It's a little long and convoluted, but I want us to hear this because it is what our spiritual teachings are based in, okay? And I like it so much where it begins and where it ends. So I'm going to share it with you. If we think of ourselves, he writes, as being separate from the universe, we shall be limited by this thought. For it is a belief in separation from God, which binds and limits. We are bound by nothing except belief. Here is the point. Everything we experience, touch, taste, handle, smell, environment, bodies, conditions, money, happiness, friends, are all effects. That's our paradigm. It's an effect of what we believe. It is clear that the infinite, continuing with Holmes, and limitless possibilities of that one of which we are a part depends in our expression upon our own concept. If we are a point of personality in limitless mind, which we are, and if all our life must be drawn from this one line, the one mind, which it must, there cannot be anything else. And if there is nothing else, if there is nothing to move save mind, and if we are thinking centers in mind, and mind means God, the divine, spirit, whatever, nothing is going to happen to us that does not happen through us. Whether it be the results of our own erroneous thinking and conclusion, which are our paradigms, those of our grandfather, or those of the race to which we belong, this is not in any sense fatalistic, for we may change the trend of causation, which has been set in motion. Change our paradigms at any time we decide to do so. Everything comes from intelligence. There is nothing but unity. There is nothing but freedom. There is nothing but completeness. There is nothing but totality. Begin at the beginning and reason this out, he tells us, time after time, until all doubt disappears as the paradigm changing. It is necessary that each of us does this for ourselves. Such is the power of right thinking, that it cancels and erases everything unlike itself. It answers every question, solves all problems, is the solution of every difficulty. It is the sunlight of eternal truth bursting through the clouds of obscurity and bathing all life in celestial glory. It is the absolute which we are dealing with, nothing else. That is what we have been created out of, that infinite power of divine mind. So within us is this power to create, to think differently, to experience a life and answer that divine invitation, dress for dancing. And Ernest Holmes, that reading was a real mouthful, but it says to begin at the beginning and reason this out time after time until all doubt disappears. We work on ourselves through our conscious mind. It automatically shifts and moves and changes our subconscious mind, where all those beliefs and memories and race consciousness and everything else is held. And so there it is, the repetition of a new thought. Choose one to work on at a time. For example, if you want to shift your paradigm, which are your perceptions, choose to look at everything in a different way. Just choose to look at it like, I have all the time in the world. The universe operates in divine right order. This is for me. I'm just sharing it all with you. This is what I have to tell myself now every time I leave the house. There's plenty of time. Divine right, well, that's what I use when I travel. When I travel, I do not travel without using divine right order, or else I will lose my mind. In the traveling of today's world, everything is in its perfect timing, in its perfect place, and we can either flow with it or we can buck it, and which feels better. You're going to get to the same place anyway, hopefully. So I want to challenge a perception paradigm that we might have right now with a new way of thinking. This is a human race consciousness paradigm. And race consciousness is a term that Ernest Holmes coined, and it's our term for an habitual way of thinking that's held by a mass of people. So without even realizing it, or maybe we do, we are being subjected to the mass consciousness of this whole planet, of our neighborhoods, of the state we live in. Well, you don't even have to turn on the news anymore. That used to be my easy way, like 20 years ago to say, oh, just don't listen to the news. It's coming through every crevice and crack. I mean, I'm passing, I was talking about this earlier, through Stone Harbor yesterday, and I simply said, oh, I've never been to Stone Harbor. Well, I started getting all kinds of advertisements for shops in Stone Harbor 1 second later. So it's really, we got to be really strong and persistent in keeping ourselves centered anymore, because it comes from all over, and I embrace it all. I embrace it all. I didn't stop. I went to another place, but it's coming. My point is there. So that race consciousness is affecting all of our decisions, whether we are super aware of it or not. So think about, in this country especially, more than any other country, I think about how this country views aging. Oh, especially if you're a woman. You're okay if you're a guy. Guys seem to get away with it, I don't know. Guys can look anywhere, but women are targeted. Get that serum, get that vitamin C, get that moisture on that face, push that eye cream. It's like, oh my God, what do we believe around aging? So I want to challenge that paradigm. Difficult, because that one's really ingrained. The women in here, I mean, maybe the men too. I mean, really ingrained in my thinking. But I just watched several videos on YouTube. And then this one, you might have seen them, is this 75-year-old grandmother of 7, which I'm not that far off. 73 of 6. So here I am, but I'm not like her. A woman, she chooses to dance, and she took it up 7 years ago with a 35-year-old salsa teacher, an instructor. This is on YouTube. She took up salsa dancing several years, 6 years prior, as a way to recover from the loss of her husband. There was another one, oh, this is a good one, about a woman who was 85, and she holds the record for being the oldest competitive weightlifter. She does rigorous, she does rigorous training every day to get herself and her body in this optimal place. So it kind of shifts. These people are shifting the paradigm with age and with loss. So I want to invite us all into a process right now to challenge a personal paradigm. If you would, I would ask you to close your eyes and take a couple of deep breaths. Yeah, just really deep breath. I want you to think about a vision you have for yourself. A divine aspiration. An invitation that is calling you. That is being offered to you. To express more of God in you. Be a fuller, freer, expanded version of yourself. It is there. It is there for you. It's in your mind. It might relate to relationships. It might relate to careers, or the way you share your gifts. It might relate to financial abundance. Whatever it relates to, pick one. Pick one. And because you are not there yet, the desire's here, we are here. We know what we desire. That means there's something standing in the way. So what are we going to do. We are going to look at where we are right now in relationship to that bigger vision. Not in unhappiness or this is not good enough attitude. It's all because right now, in this moment, it's magical, beautiful, precious moment. And there is a gift in this moment. There is an understanding. There is an awareness and an awakening in this moment. And that is what we are going to tap into. So please take another deep breath and exhale. Deep breaths actually open us up psychologically to greater ideas. They calm our nerves, and they really do support our expanded awareness. So breath work is very important. So looking at your current situation as it relates to your expanded vision, not in discomfort or unhappiness, but in a question. Be inquisitive. We're going to take another deep breath. And then internally simply say this question. I wonder what my paradigm of my current situation is here to show me. Deep breath again. I wonder what gift of expanded awareness this current experience I am having can give me. I wonder. Be in the inquiry. Right now, for just a few moments, be in the inquiry. I wonder. I invite you to take this inquisitive attitude out for the next 3 days. And for the next 3 days, consciously be aware of your vision versus your current experience. What is it you really desire to be, feel, do? What is it? Staying in gratitude the whole time for all of the gifts that you have right now. And the blessings that are yours right now. Be in the inquiry. I wonder what this is here to show me about my paradigm, about my philosophical, theoretical way, my framework of thinking, about my habits of thought and attitude. Breathe that in. And for the next 3 days, Be available for those divine ideas that will most certainly flow through you. I know they will come. I know they will come because you are willing. You are willing for them to come. You are willing to expand and break out of that paradigm that doesn't serve, so that you can then align in that higher vibration and in consciousness with the higher idea. I know that they will come because I'm going to do the spiritual mind treatment, which is affirmative prayer right now, and affirm that they do. So we shall, in this moment, set the divine law in motion. And the ideas, the higher ideas, the divine ideas, come. And in the expanded awareness of the paradigm, then the expanded awareness of a new thought about the way we are thinking and how we choose to spend the rest of our lives, in which dancing structure. This is an expanded idea of who you are, what you came here to do and be, and the gifts that we came to share. So take that another deep breath as I go into prayer. Knowing that each and every one here is an expression of the divine, and as such, has within them a unique, personalized, beautiful gift, a gift of themselves. Maybe they haven't tapped into it yet, but they will now, because I know that divine law is God's action, love and law. So this love is setting that action into place. So I am claiming that each and every one of us is moving in the direction to fulfill all that we dream of fulfilling. For the love of God is always available, is omnipresent. The power of God, the omnipotence of the divine is here for each and every one of us. This creator of all that is, was, and ever can be, shall be, is always present, is always powerful, is always pure love, loving all of its creations and imparting its very nature into each and every form of life. Nothing left out, everything is included. So therefore, I know that this flow of this beauty of love and life is moving through me as I speak this word for each and every one here, that each one is in their perfect place. In this matrix of life, in this web of the unknown, all is known in divine mind, and there's one mind. That's God's mind. That's my mind and your mind now. So then I declare fully and completely that each one shifts away from those old beliefs. Truly, it's enough with those old beliefs that no longer serve, and allow that desire, that invitation to dance with the beloved, to rise up in us, to have its way with us, so that we can be doing what we love. We might not know what it is, but it will be revealed through the power of this word spoken, because I absolutely 100% know the law is always working for us. I am so grateful for our spiritual teachings. I am so grateful for the love, the life, the people, the animals, the minerals, the joy that is present here, truly, if we but open up to it. I am so overflowing with gratitude to speak this word and to know that this is taking place within each one. And in that knowing, in that absolute knowing and claiming, I release this word in its fullness, in its entirety, into the powerful, intelligent law of universal mind, God's law. I release this word knowing it is completely and absolutely done within each and every one, right here and right now. And so it is.